We recently learned of a few new things that are going to be coming to Pokemon Champions at some point, and some additional things that might not be ever coming to the game at all. So the first item I'm going to discuss here is that unevolved Pokemon at some point should be coming to Pokemon Champions. There are many viable unevolved Pokemon that could be a great use to the meta and a great use to your team. Ever since the Eviolite came out when Black and White was introduced, it has been a huge hit for some of these unevolved Pokemon, making them real problems in the metagame. If you're not familiar with Eviolite, what it does essentially is that it's going to multiply your defense and your special defense stat by 50%, which is just massive, turning some of these Pokemon into Great Walls. Your best examples of those are going to be like Chansey. Of course, Blissey, already very bulky and very hard to get rid of, but Chansey at times can be even worse, because yes, its HP is going to be lower, but its defense and special defense is going to be higher than Blissey, and it is really difficult to defeat Chansey at points with its bulk. And that's going to be similar with Dusclops too. Dusknoir, again, similar situation, a little bit more HP, a little better defense and special defense, but Dusclops doesn't lose that much HP compared to Dusknoir, and it would gain a massive defense and special defense boost. And then Porygon 2 is kind of the odd one. It's more kind of a better defensive Pokemon than Porygon Z would be in the first place. Porygon Z is great as a special attacker with Choice Specs or Scarf or Life Orb or setting up, to where Porygon 2 in the first place isn't really all about that. It's about being a bulky, specially defensive or physically defensive Pokemon. And that was kind of even before Eviolite was introduced. So this thing was actually kind of used back in the day before Eviolite was a thing. And then when Eviolite was introduced, it just made it all that much better. It is insanely difficult to take this thing down. And unlike Chansey or Dusclops, yes, those things are pretty weak in its attack and special attack for being a pre-evolution, but for Porygon 2, this thing can hit back and hit back hard. Now, of course, knockoff is a thing. If you're able to get a knockoff off, it's going to lose its Eviolite, and it is a lot easier to get rid of it. But I think the case still stands that Eviolite with pre-evolution Pokemon definitely need to be in this game. The next thing that could be updated at some point is going to be battle arenas. The battle arena that we use for Pokemon Champions looks pretty good, and then the practice one has a pretty good design as well. But that's it, there's only those two, and the practice one is not for competitive use at all. Back when we had Black and White and you could edit battle replays with a flashcard and have different backgrounds and everything on them, it was really cool. It made all the battles very unique, especially each time people uploaded battles on YouTube and stuff like that. You didn't see this actual change while battling somebody per se, but for the battle replay, if you had the specific resources for this, then you could have different backgrounds for your battle replay, and it always just looked really neat, and it made different videos stand out. But for Pokemon X and Y and games after that, we never really had that. Battles were primarily captured with built-in capture cards on the 3DS, so we just had that same generic bluish green looking stadium background, which was fine, but again, it got old pretty quick, and it really wasn't even that different in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. So bringing some different battle arenas, especially ones that can be rotated out or ones that you can specifically choose from, would be a fantastic enhancement to the game. Not only when you're battling somebody currently, but if you're going to save clips or record this footage for later, it makes a great variety. Now again, for each new season of Pokemon Champions, some things do get added, but typically it's pretty minimal until a new regulation has actually been made for the game. And right now, with Worlds going on, they don't want to interrupt that and throw everybody's teams and strategies off, so we're probably not going to see any more Pokemon, any more items or evolutions added until September. A new Battle Pass was added. It did have some additional features and additional items that you could get. I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth about Battle Passes in the future as to whether or not you should buy one. Now, there is one thing that there is probably not going to come to the game at any point, and that is going to be replays. That's something that we've had all the way since Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, I believe, and it's been very nice and useful to have that. I can see Pokemon Champions, with it being an online game, free to play for anybody, it being a little more complex for them to pull that off, and apparently it is some sort of technical challenge. And that's all I have for today. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, and to subscribe for more Pokemon Champions content if you'd like, and I'll see you on the next video.